What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Battlefield Project podcast. I'm joined today by a good friend of mine, Kerry, Kerry Egan, who I will introduce here in a minute. But real quick, we are the podcast for people who understand that life is a battle and only the strong will thrive. We are not about surviving here. Sometimes it's all about survival, but for the most part, this podcast and the people that we are interviewing and showcasing, and hopefully the audience themselves, are all about thriving in life. So the gist of this podcast is basically to share stories of people who have overcome their own personal battles. Far too often, I think a lot of people are under the assumption that successful, happy people, or at least what appears to be successful, happy people to the outside world, have just had it easy, have had the red carpet rolled out for them, and that's why they're able to live the good life, or what appears to be the good life. And this podcast is really to shine a light on the fact that nothing can be further from the truth than that every single human being has their own battles that they must fight. The choices and the kind of the difference between the successful and unsuccessful, happy, unhappy people in the world is some people choose to fight those battles head on and win those battles and then live a good life. Other people allow those battles to defeat them. They become victims, they throw in the towel, and then they are not living the life that they want. So we shine a light on this podcast on people from all different walks of life who have fought those battles, have had the courage and the fortitude to take them on head on. So we will discuss with Kerry some of the battles that she has personally faced in her life, how she overcame them, and then what she is doing now and how, like, the good life that she's living now because she came over those battles. All right, let me read the bio here for Kerry. Kerry Egan has been doing interventions for over a decade since her own life-saving intervention. She graduated from Drexel University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and a minor in psychology. She is a certified case managed interventionist and a certified intervention professional and a professional recovery coach. So she does quite a few things there. Kerry travels nationwide for interventions and offers continued care for her clients with case management and coaching services for the whole family system for a minimum of 1 year. Kerry is currently in graduate school at Grand Canyon University, studying for her master's in clinical mental health counseling. Before starting her intervention practice, Kerry spent 20 years in sales and management in the electronic security industry. And over the last 12 years, Kerry owned a restaurant, a trucking company delivering Amish furniture, and a security consulting business. When Kerry is not working or studying, she enjoys all things fitness. She resides in Lancaster, PA, right down the street from us, with her wife. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so you say it for me.
Timolin.
All right. I had a feeling that was it, but I didn't want to screw it up. I should have just gone for it. And their
It.
beloved boxer, Rexelin. Did I get that right?
Yep, you got it.
All right, perfect. One thing she didn't mention in her bio is probably because saying this about yourself is kind of weird and people wouldn't say it, but Kerry is one of the biggest hearts that I know, like biggest heart in the person that I know. It's like she probably wouldn't say it. Hey, I have a huge heart, but Kerry is one of the most authentic, heart-centered people that I know. I've been fortunate to get to know her better and better over the last like year-ish, I guess it's probably been 1.5 years maybe. And I thoroughly enjoy the fact that the universe brought her onto my path and that I get to learn from her and be a friend with her. So Kerry, I'm super happy to have you on the show. I know, some of the battles that you face, but I'm really excited for you to share them with our audience. Because I think you've got really good stories and you can add a lot of insight and value to them and hopefully inspire the people who are listening. So welcome to the show. And please, floor is yours. Let us hear about some of those battles that you faced and how you overcame them.
All right. So first, thank you for having me, Matt.
My pleasure.
Excited to be on this podcast. And I've certainly fought some battles that we can talk about. I'll try and go kind of in order of some of the stuff that I went through. So my first biggest battle as an adult on the business front happened when I was about 23. And I had been in a lawn care business with my then boyfriend, Derek. And I just did the billing and stuff like that. I didn't do any of the mowing of the lawns. And it came to a point where we broke up and he decided that he couldn't live in Pennsylvania anymore if we weren't together. So he took off and went to Florida, but we had a payment on one of our lawnmowers. So I had to figure out how to mow the lawns. And the mowing the lawns isn't that hard, but taking care and servicing the commercial mowers was something that was completely foreign to me. And I remember one day I'm out on this customer's lawn, and it's pouring down rain, and we're just trying to get it done. And one of the belts broke. And when the belt broke, you couldn't move the mower at all. So I had to just leave the mower sitting there, and then, go to the repair shop, buy the belt, figure out how to change it, and um, do all that. And giving up is never, ever, ever a thing for me. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to finish the task that I'm on, as it relates to business. And I learned that from working in my family's businesses. So I grew up with two parents, entrepreneurs, running 3 different businesses. And from a very young age, I learned that I had to figure it out. One example of that is we owned a telecommunications company that did pagers and cell phones, and the paging technology had sort of died off, and there wasn't really anywhere to go for service help. We still had some accounts with the hospitals, so I had to figure out, by reading through manuals and everything, while all of these hospitals pagers are down and my parents are screaming at me like, the hospital's down, the hospital's down. And I have to go through and figure out these boards and how to fix them. And every part of my life, I've been under an immense amount of stress while like troubleshooting. And that has really shaped me into a person that is calm in times of trouble, and that calmness has carried through and helped me. But so those two things really pop out in my head from my early 20s. The lawnmowers breaking and not knowing how to do it, and learning how to cut and mow grass for 40 customers just so that I could get that lawnmower paid off. And what I did was, as soon as the lawnmower was paid off, I closed the business, because I'm not a lawn care kind of person. I did like the fact that you get there and the grass is long, and you do your job and you can see that it's cut. That
like instant gratification.
Gratification. Yep, that was
I know
nice
it.
about that.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my first experience with business debt and what to do with it. As I moved into my 30s, I was struggling with alcohol use disorder. And so I went to rehab when I was 32 years old, and learned that I could not drink, not even one drink. Prior to going to rehab, I tried to stop myself so many times, and it just didn't work. One of the craziest things I did to get over that battle without asking for help was I bought a truck and a fifth wheel, and I drove to California. And I tell people that was the most expensive AA meeting ever, because the truck and the RV cost about $150,000. And I just signed for it, like a good American, just sign up for that debt.
Yeah.
And took off across the country and went to my first AA meeting in Santa Barbara. But it wasn't enough for me. I ended up returning home, still drinking. And then from that intervention, which led me to the career that I'm in today, from that intervention, I was able to build a sober life. And it's been fantastic. But that was one of the hardest battles when I was actually battling it. As soon as I surrendered and gave up, it's one of the easiest things I've been through.
Yeah.
So that little paradox there, it truly was quite simple after I just admitted that it wasn't defeat, and it wasn't a character flaw, and it wasn't that I wasn't strong enough. It was an actual disease, and I suffered from it. So when I went to rehab, I actually resigned from my position at the family business, and that had afforded me, $100,000 a year salary, and could pay for all those toys. And since I resigned from that, I found myself newly sober, walking on a pink cloud. Everything was great. I loved life. I loved everybody, but I still had all these bills coming in. And before going to rehab, before going to California and all that, I had co-signed a loan for a woman that started a burrito company here in Lancaster, Senorita Burrito.
Mm-hmm.
And at about 18 months sober, I answered the phone and she said, "I'm not opening up the restaurant today. Like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore." Well, I had a second mortgage on my house for that business. So I'm telling you all these things because they're lessons that I would advise nobody to ever do these things.
Yeah. Or do them, but no, they're like, you gotta like figure it out quick.
Yeah, it's so risky. So anyway, that Friday morning, I decided, okay, well, somebody's got to open the restaurant, so I'm it. So I went in and learned how to run a restaurant, learned how to make the salsa, put a team together, and we had a stand at Central Market and a restaurant on Prince Street. And I ran that for a few weeks. And she had gone and signed off the lease with the landlord without telling me. And the landlord locked us out of the space on Prince Street. So that was the beginning of the fall of Senorita Burrito. I didn't have any money and wasn't credit worthy to take out any loans to buy restaurant equipment. So we went into a space that actually had a full kitchen out on Oregon Pike, but the space was way too big and it just wasn't going to work. So ended up having to close that space. Now I was on the hook for a lease for 5 years. So they were not going to let me out of it. Despite the fact that they had somebody in there before and the space was just too big, and knowing that, you know, we had tried our damnedest, they didn't care, right? They were going to enforce this lease. So I struggled for about another year dealing with all creditor phone calls. I still had the RV in the truck, not making payments, and everything was coming to a head. I was just absolutely emotionally and mentally spent. My house, I was still living in my first home that I bought when I was 25, but I wasn't making mortgage payments. I mean, I had like literally zero income coming in from the restaurant, and I didn't know what to do. And my dad said, "You're going to have to file bankruptcy." Like, not, "I'm going to bail you out, here you go," but "You're going to have to file bankruptcy." So I thought about that for about another 6 months because it was, I felt like I had too much pride to file bankruptcy, and I felt like I still owed the people the money. Mm-hmm. So anyway, long story short, my dad did loan me the money to file bankruptcy. It was, you know, cost $1,200 or $2,200, something like that. And what I realized in that was, if I didn't file bankruptcy, that was going to hold me back from being able to do any of the other things that I wanted to do, and to have a business impact on other people for the foreseeable future. So a conversation that I had with an attorney, my sister is an attorney, and a conversation I had with her was really the tipping point. Mm-hmm. And she just basically said, "You're filing bankruptcy for what it's there for. You're not using it for the wrong purposes. It's there for situations like this. Just use it."
Yeah.
So anyway, I filed bankruptcy, and that was tough. It was really, really tough to admit. And for the last 10 years, I've been rebuilding my credit. But even filing bankruptcy, I had been able to buy another car. I was able to get an apartment. I was able to start another business. So it can be done.
Yeah.
Much harder, but it can be done. After I was I always knew I was an entrepreneur. I mean, that's my spirit. So here I am, the restaurant's done, I'm defeated, and really I need money just to pay the rent. So I took a job back in the electronic security industry for a couple years, mm-hmm. To get back on my feet. But all that time knowing that I was going to open up an intervention practice. So what I did for experience and to learn how to actually be an interventionist is for the last 10 years, I've been doing it pro bono. And that was what I had to do. I needed some sober time under my belt. I didn't think anybody was going to hire an interventionist that was 4 minutes sober.
Yep.
That's
fair.
Yeah, so I did it all pro bono. I did live in my house. I turned my house into a recovery house, really, right when I came back from rehab, because they said, the best case scenario for you is you're going to live in a sober living environment. And I was like, okay, that's fine, but like I need to take my dog. So I always had these little tiny things that I wouldn't let go of. Like I could give up a lot of stuff, but like give up my dog, that wasn't gonna happen. Well, the place didn't have a bed for me. Like they were filled. So I lived in a parking lot in my RV until I found roommates that had a year sober to move into my house. And then I moved back into my house.
Wow.
So I'm doing the whole thing, working for a security company out of Detroit, selling security to scrap yards, and trying to get some money saved up and pay the bills. And because my pride, again, man, I can't tell you how much my pride drug things out. So because of my pride, I didn't return the truck. I didn't sell the truck. I didn't sell the RV. I just kept it and just waited for them to come take it. So instead of, selling it, maybe even getting some money out of it and not having a repossession, I had 2 repossessions on my record now. So now I have bankruptcy, and 2 repos. So I'm just completely defeated again. Just it was horrible, the feeling. And I didn't have really anything saved up at this point, and the house was next. So the next thing you know, I'm getting a sheriff's sale letter, an eviction notice on my house. So now here comes the house. So I've got the bankruptcy, the 2 repossessions, and now my house is being foreclosed on.
Wow.
And I'm 33 or 34 at this point. Still single, and I have nowhere to go. So thankfully I was dating, she's my wife now, but I was dating her. She had a steady job. And my dad said he would co-sign on an apartment for us. So we had to move in. We moved into a 2-bedroom apartment at Miller's Crossing. And it was the only reason that they let him co-sign is he actually told them that he was Timmy's stepdad and that she was a student at Millersville, because they didn't accept co-signers. You had to still have enough money and income to cover the rent. Even with a co-signer. So there, it was just uphill battle after uphill battle after uphill battle. And then things were going okay. And I ended up in the behavioral health hospital. And this happened 13 more times from 2014 through 2020. I had been in the behavioral health hospital 13 times.
Wow.
And none of those were because I went. They were all 302s, which is the statute where somebody else can commit you. And most of the time it was the police. I luckily in 2020 did get diagnosed with bipolar disorder and got on the right meds. And for the last couple of years, I'm happy to say I've been hospital stay free.
Awesome.
And now I basically manage my disease. Part of the bipolar tendencies is being impulsive. And I was definitely impulsive over those last 20 years that I just told you about. Loading money, for example, to somebody owning a restaurant, like that was stupid. What am I doing? This is dumb. Being a people pleaser. Same thing with the boyfriend's lawn care company. Like there was no reason I needed to be on that lawnmower lease. Again, just instead of focusing on my own dreams, I was helping other people live out theirs. and it came to a head, and I had to do the work. But I think that's the most important takeaway, is that no matter what, you put your name on something, at least for me, I'm going to give it my all. Now, I wasn't successful running the lawn care company. Lawns looked better if they used somebody else.
Yeah.
I wasn't successful at running the restaurant. I didn't have enough margins. I would keep the food costs down, the employee costs would be through the roof.
Yeah.
The space was too big. Just, wasn't successful. One of the jobs that I had to take through my pro bono interventions, I did an intervention with a 5-year-old little girl, and it turned out the police wanted to know where she was. Children and Youth Services said that she could just go to the office at 8 the next morning, which was a Monday. Whatever. Bottom line is, I didn't tell the police where she was. I got an administrative interference charge. So during that period, I just felt like I was in a waiting game. So I started delivering Amish furniture in a 26-foot, truck. Just hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work. Not just the pine, but the hardwoods, which are extremely heavy.
Yeah.
And packing a truck when you're in the shipping business is quite different than packing it helping your buddy move.
Yeah, I believe that.
Every inch counts.
Yeah.
Every single inch counts. So now I'm operating in this business where I'm a woman, number one. Number two, I'm gay. And my clientele is all these Amish men.
Yeah.
And it was like, it just has been a pattern in my life that I take on the biggest battles.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why. I just can't seem to do something easy. But it has made me like extremely resilient.
Yeah.
And so I did that for 3 years, driving up and down the East Coast. Virginia to Maine.
Okay.
Sometimes I would do 2 truckloads a week, which was absolutely brutal. That was, like no sleep, and just drive and deliver and drive and deliver and drive and deliver. You'd be surprised how important it is to get furniture to these stores on time. I mean, they go absolutely nuts. I was like, it's just furniture,
Yeah.
From having my parents scream at me like during my life over the security alarms not working,
Yeah.
or the features not working or whatever, and now my customer base is yelling because furniture's 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
So I got through it though. I got through it. I had a manic episode right after I got married. And at the end of that manic episode, I decided that I was done with the Amish furniture business.
Yeah.
So I let that go, and took a job again back in the security industry just to get back on my feet. Did that for about a year and hated it. Hated every minute of it, but I was able to save up some money, and I got a client. And that client has been very, very good to me, and it's worked out, and I've been able to launch my intervention practice. So battle after battle, I'm here today, and my credit is restored. Live in a house that we bought in February of 2017. I have a car. My wife has a car. There's a loan on it, because it was 0.9% interest. So took advantage.
Free money, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Took advantage of that, put more down on the house and finance that. But I have a whole different perspective on debt and my life today, the way that I manage my everyday battles, especially with my bipolar disorder. I have to take my meds. I have to exercise. I have to eat right. And I have to accept the cycles. For the last 2 weeks, I've actually been on a depression cycle, which is it's very, very frustrating, especially for like a high-strung type A personality like myself. I become just melancholy. Don't feel like getting out of bed. Right now, I'm doing the 75 hard challenge.
Yes, ma'am.
And without the 75 hard challenge, I can tell you I probably wouldn't have been out of bed for the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It lays me flat on my back, and that's the last battle that I have to get better at. It's new to me, right? It's only been like 2 years since I've been stable. Um, but I still that's one battle that is still keeping me down. And I'm hopeful with each news cycle that I can do better than the time before.
Yeah.
Started marking on my calendar, how many days I'm like down and what I've done each day. But so the 75 hard challenge has been fantastic because I've had to get up and I've had to do my workouts and I've had to do my reading.
Yep.
Because I absolutely refuse to not complete 75 hard this time.
Yeah.
And when I take that attitude, it doesn't matter what happens. You can take my house, you can take my cars, you can take my business. It doesn't matter. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I may need reset times, but give me a challenge and I'm going to overcome it.
You'll get it done.
Yep. And that's where I'm at today.
Shit, man. So, all right, you said the word at one point, resilient. I'm resilient, and the word adjective that was coming to me multiple times hearing you talk was resourceful. And I think it's the same thing as resilient, because like lawnmower broke, got to figure that out. Pagers are down, hospitals are freaking out, got to figure out how to deal with the motherboard, figure that out. Like go to work one day, the burrito shop's closed, fuck, got to figure out where to take that business and do something with that. Like I mean, so far I've had, I think you're my fourth guest, and like the battles have been kind of like singular. It's like this battle. You're like, this battle led to this battle, and then I compounded it with this battle, and then this battle presented itself, and then out of left field, this battle came in, and I was almost done with that battle, and this battle was like just constant battles. But I think what you said towards the end was like the most important part, which is like, so what you said towards the very end there was this most recent battle that keeps knocking you down or keeps you down. But I would challenge you to not think that, because I don't think it does. I think it knocks you down, but it doesn't keep you down, because you're like the epitome of I won't be kept down. Like you could take my car, I can drive across the country thinking that's going to solve the problem and not solve the problem. You can take my burrito business, you could do whatever, like you looking at the universe and be like, you keep doing whatever you want to do, like throw every possible battle at me. Like you're not going to keep me down, whether it's outside of my control, something I got to deal with internally, whatever it is. You're like the poster child of like, okay, bring it. And like, I'll get knocked down 8 times, I'm going to get back up 9. Knock me down 18 times, I'm going to get up a 19th time. And like, that's why like looking at you and being friends with you, and I know we're not going to get into this, but like you failed 75 hard, failed it, like, didn't complete it a couple times in the last 6 months, but like, that led you to being like, okay, I'm going to do it this time. And you're doing it like I'm doing it, pretty much same time as you. I'm on day 40 or 41, whatever it is. I think you're like 35 or 36. So we're on the same timelines, and there's a group of like 5 or 6, but like we all committed to it. And in the beginning, like right away, you were like, I will not complete this time. Like this is my like one of many probably, but like singular goal right now is like, I will achieve this because I'm dedicating my energy to achieving this. And I feel like that's what you do with 75 hard, now with your new business that you've got up and running, with your relationships, with your future, with your credit, like everything that you pour into, you're like the all in. It doesn't matter what circumstance presents itself later today or tomorrow morning or 3 weeks from now, I'm all in, and it doesn't matter. Like you can try your hardest, universe, to knock me down and to keep me down, but like it ain't gonna happen. Like I might get knocked down for 2 weeks, I might get knocked down for a month. Like it doesn't matter. It's not forever, and you're gonna like get up, dust yourself off, and just be like, okay, what's the solution? What's the next move I got to make sure that thing doesn't keep me down? And I think that's, when I say like a big heart, I was thinking more of like your care towards other people, which I think is why you have your business, My Interventionist, but it's also like your heart for yourself, and like not allowing those things to keep you down because you love yourself too much to be like, okay, that 9th blow is the one that's going to break me. So be it. I got hit 9 times. Life's not fair. Time to play the victim role. Like you're like, nah, fuck no. Like love myself too much. Love, my wife too much, and my dog, and my future, and my friends and family, and like random people that are following me on social media that I can inspire. Not going to happen. Like, just going to keep like building my heart muscle bigger, building all my strength, my resilience, my resourcefulness. And like hearing, I didn't know some of the stuff that you just shared. Like, I knew some of it, but it's amazing. Like, it's nothing short of amazing to know that you were able to fight through, it feels like decades probably of battles, like constant battles, and still be in a place today where you're like, I'm going to start a business that is all about helping other people. You know what I mean? Like, you've got your own arrows in your back. You've been shot, like you've been knocked down. You could very easily have every right in the world to be like, I'm just focusing on me. Like, it's like, I need to focus on me. I need to care for me. I need to pay myself attention and have a business that serves you. And instead you're like, nah, like, throw it on my back. I'll carry it. Like, and I want to have a business that serves other people. And that in and of itself, I think is like like I keep saying, like the epitome of what a human being should be, because we're all going to get knocked down. What do you do with it? For you, it's like, I get back up and then I help other people that are also being knocked down because I know what they've been through. So
Yeah,
I admire
absolutely.
you.
Yeah, and the what has fueled it and given me this ability for sure has been able to maintain my sobriety through it all.
I believe that.
You know, without that, I would be nowhere.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, Kerry, thank you. That, like, if you watch, if you're watching this or listening to this and that doesn't prove to you that like it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, like, just get back up and figure it out. I don't know if I'll ever have another guest that will get through to you, because this should be like the episode where you like listen to it a few times. You're like, okay, having a bad day. Okay, having a bad week. Okay, it's been a couple tough months. Like, okay, but like this episode I listened to with this girl named Kerry, like she had bad years, a decade, like longer than that. And like now here she is building a successful business, helping other people, and still fighting her own battles. Like, it's not like all of a sudden you wave the magic wand and like life just poof, magically figured itself out for you. You get to wake up every day super happy, content, fulfilled, peaceful, with no challenges. Like, you're still probably getting hit with challenges on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, but you're taking your energy, pouring it into yourself and others. And I think that's what's going to totally change the game for you moving forward. And I think your battles, your challenges will get less and less as time goes on. And like you even said, like, this is kind of the last one here with like the depression cycles. And even knowing that they may continue to pop up in your future, you're doing what you can to lessen those lengths of cycles, which again is just like ding, ding, ding. Like, you can't eliminate certain things because that's life, but you can do your best to mitigate it and to, like, you know, cushion it and to make sure that it doesn't get worse. Like, it only gets better. And even if it's 1% better this time compared to last time, and then another 2% the next time, eventually you're like, shit, like now it happens, you're aware of it. And maybe someday it'll be like, it's an hour. Like, I feel it, like I feel it wash over me, and I have the tools and the energy and the power and the resources to make it like an afternoon of it, and then, you know, poof, it's gone. Whereas, you know, it was months before, and then it was weeks, and it was days, and now it's hours. Like, that to me is phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal.
Very well said.
Well, I mean, you've inspired me. Like,
That's an inspiration.
I just spit out what like you and the universe poured into me. So thank you. But where can people find you? Because I think the more people that connect with you, whether it's through business or just personal social media stuff, and can watch your story unfold, I think they'll live better lives because of the content you put out there and the inspiration you provide. So where can people find you on social media? You got the awesome branding in the background there. In the show notes, I'll put the myinterventionist.com website, but where can people connect with you?
Definitely myinterventionist.com. I'm on Facebook, Kerry Egan. It's KerryeGan. And my Facebook I keep up regularly. So and it's mostly driven with inspirational stuff. Some of my stories are weaved in there. So that's a really good way to get a hold of me. And always 24/7, like if you have something, you have somebody that might need help, I can always be reached at 833-700-7759. Still old school like that. Like, pick up the phone and give me a ring. And you can text that too.
I was going to say, you could text that number as well, correct?
Yep. Text it too. And I'd love to hear from you.
I'll put that in the show notes as well. So awesome, Kerry. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this episode with us. If you're still listening, or if you're listening, thank you for listening to the show. If you got any value out of this, which I believe you must have if you listen to this show and this story and you heard everything that she had to say and you feel what she's saying, please share it with others, whether they're going through battles similar to her or totally different. That's what this show is all about, is just inspiring each other on a human to human level, that we're all facing stuff on a daily basis. And it's up to us to fight those battles, overcome them, win in life, and then inspire other people to win. So if that's the path that you're on with us, please share the show, help us inspire other people. Kerry, thank you very, very much. I will let you know when this is live on YouTube and we can share this and we can change the world. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt.
My sincere pleasure.
Have a good one.
Thank you.